Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, 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 Dave. Welcome to another episode of Getting Creative with Lightro. I'm your host, Andrew Sale, and joined as usual with the illustrious, beautifully haired, we call him the Platinum Package. I don't know. We'll keep workshopping it.
Yeah, we're going to
But
workshop that one.
Dave Zaboski to the show. Hey, Dave, how are you?
I'm good. Happy to be here. My hairstylist is Pandemic Neglect. So if you want to look it up in any magazine, that's what you got going here.
Pandemic chic, I think, is what they call it on the
I
street.
don't know. It's just, not ever going outside to see any real humans
I love it.
until recently. But yeah, good to see you. You're
Yeah,
traveling right now.
I am. Yeah, I'm out on the West Coast. I'm actually not far from your neck of the woods for a work trip and meeting up with some of the other Lytro friends and doing some planning sessions and things. And man, I'm really excited to get back in the saddle. It's been what, 2 months maybe since we were chatting, and a
Yeah.
lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that we've been working toward and working on. And so it's nice to be back in front of your face on the airwaves.
Yeah, yeah, nice to be back and to chat with some amazing folks, including who we got going today.
I know, and we're going to get to him in just a second. But before we do that, Dave, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but yesterday, 2 days ago, was a special day for you.
It was the 17th Tuesday of the year, which I always love to celebrate.
It's just there's something special about that Tuesday.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was actually my 60th birthday, and so yeah, you know what? I turned 60, which I think as a Gemini I'm entitled to be a little split about the whole thing. Like on the one hand, I have no idea what that number means, man. When I was a kid looking at somebody who was 60, I'd be like, "How are you still alive?"
Yeah,
Um,
that's
but right now, I mean, I feel great. I think I'm 29 in my head. I feel like we're still going after it. The stuff that we're working on Lytro, the things that we're creating for artists. I'm super excited about it. I still feel like I'm flapping.
good.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's a little strange. I mean, I look at myself in the mirror and things have changed, but inside I still feel 29. So
Does it feel like some people say like you're just getting started? Does it feel like you're just getting started, or do you feel like you're just in a rhythm?
well, everything's kind of a cycle. You have sort of renewals. Things that come up, and you go, oh yeah, hey, let's try this for a little bit. There's a lot of new technologies that are out there. There's a lot of new things to draw. Every time I pick up a paintbrush, I think, oh yeah, here's something else that I've learned. So I don't know. I mean, I think about the Hokusai quote that we've talked about before, where he says that, like, I'm 73 when I write this. I've done a universe of drawing in my life. When I'm 83, I'll understand plants. When I'm 93, I'll understand how people move. When I'm 103, Hokusai says every line, every dot will jump to life as never before. I challenge all of you to witness that I'm no longer the guy called Hokusai, but now I'm called the old man crazy about drawing. I sort of am inspired by that, that idea that every line, every dot can possibly jump to life as never before, and to be in pursuit of that. And it doesn't matter how old you are. That's just a internal drive to see the world more perfectly.
I love it. It's really nice to think about the idea of you being crazy about drawing. At any stage of life, you've been the one who's crazy about drawing, though. So now you're just moving into towards the older fella who's crazy
Who's
about
just
drawing. So
crazy.
yeah,
So it's just crazy. We got the
just
drawing
crazy.
part. Now he's just crazy.
Okay, so for those of you who are joining us and haven't watched one of our shows before, I just want to let you know what we're all about. This is the show that's all about the collaborative crossroads of marketing and brands, and what we're trying to do is connect the creatives and the storytellers that we work with, right? That come together to make these stories happen. And so this episode is not going to be any different than that. We're really excited to jump in because in this episode, we're sitting down with Bobby Chiu. Bobby is an Emmy Award-winning creative professional. He's an artist, a teacher, an advocate for creative community. He's he got his big break initially by designing characters for Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. Ever heard of it? He co-founded Imaginism Studios, Schoolism.com, Lightbox Expo, and he is a co-owner of Magma Studio. Between all of this stuff, between all of these tremendous responsibilities, Bobby still manages to work in concept and character design. He publishes art books, he teaches digital painting, and he streams on YouTube regularly. So we're gonna chat about a lot of stuff. We're gonna chat about all of that stuff. But besides the idea of talking about how he manages all of these roles, we're gonna talk about how he still finds time to create for himself. And then we're going to find out where the focus is shifting in the creative communities that he leads in light of influences like things like technology and culture. We're going to talk about all that stuff. But first, we have to get him in the room, right? So, everybody help us welcome Bobby Chiu to the show. Hey, Bobby.
Hey, how's it going, Andrew? How's it
You
going,
know,
Dave?
That's good. It's good to see you, Bobby.
Great to
you
I
know,
see
want
you.
to start with this question, Bobby. Is it true that there's actually been cloning and there are, in fact, 6 of you?
that's the real
That was
secret.
a great intro, Andrew. I wondered the same thing. I was like, how did yeah, I guess I do all these things. Oh my gosh. No wonder I'm so tired all the time.
Hearing
Hmm.
them listed off may be a little exhausting, right?
Well, you know what? It's all about laser focus. Be on this thing. Don't think about the next thing. Just be on this thing because you'll get done it faster and better, and then you move on to the next thing.
Perfect. Well, that's it. That was the show, everybody. That you got all the
Yeah.
advice you need. We'll just move on, or maybe
Thanks, everybody. Tip your waitress.
let's spend some time getting to know you for a second, Bobby. So before all of this stuff, before all of the things that people know about Bobby Chiu, before people, before you became the Bobby Chiu that people know, tell us a little bit about you and how you grew up and the things that were interesting to you, and just give us a little bit of your backstory.
All right, all right. So I guess because there's been so many things that have happened, generally I'll give like a 3 minute kind
Sure.
of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So I was born in Taiwan. I moved to Canada when I was 2. Always loved drawing. Always loved drawing. Actually, on one of my kindergarten or preschool report cards that my mom showed me one time, it said, Bobby Bobby loves to play with blocks. He's always there first in line for juice during, juice time, and he doesn't talk to anybody. And that was the thing, because I guess I was shy,
Hmm.
Okay.
as many of us artists are, and
Yeah.
perhaps that's a good reason why we became artists, is because we didn't want to talk to anybody. We just wanted to play with our blocks all day
Yeah.
and build stuff and be creative. So anyways, from there, always loved art, kept going with the art. And then I asked my parents, hey, I want to be an artist. What do you think of that? And they said, well, Bobby, art is great. You doing your art is great, but maybe not as a profession. Be
Hmm.
a lawyer, a doctor, architect. That's kind of art, right? And those kind of things, business. So I went into business school and learned a bunch of stuff, enough to know that I didn't want to keep pursuing business school. I wanted to pursue art. So I went through the art program, and it wasn't easy. Didn't get in the first time, had to work, you know, to get in there and everything. Graduated from Sheridan Animation, couldn't get a
Hmm.
job, right? I couldn't get a job anywhere, ended up getting a job as a data manager. So you don't draw as a data manager.
Hmm.
Uh, then worked on my stuff freelance, at nights, to the point where I got about 8 hours worth of, not so hot freelance jobs and 8 hour day job.
Hmm.
Couldn't handle that past 3 months. Ended up quitting my day job, going full time into freelance. That day, my computer broke. By the way, the day I quit my job, so that was fun, and recovered, and started pursuing art as a freelancer. started a studio because I couldn't get anybody to hire me. With my brother, I started a studio with my brother Ben, then my girlfriend at the time, and now my partner in life, my wife, my love of my life, Chaos Dara. She is my partner in all of this as well. And yeah, like you said, first job that we got where the thing came out was Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
We got discovered at Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con, many moons ago. But the very first person that discovered me was Tony Bancroft,
Mm.
Oh,
directed
yeah.
Mulan.
Yeah, I know
Wonderful
Tony
guy.
well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I credit him with being like the
S
first person to give us a job.
so the Bobby Chiu the fact that we get to know Bobby Chiu is because of, half of the Bancroft twins,
Yes.
Tony Bancroft,
The other
yeah.
half is awesome as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have your
So
own stories with him, but you give all the credit to Tony for bringing you in.
right, right. And from the Tim Burton thing, Alice in Wonderland being the first movie that I first project that I worked on that actually came out, that was a really big deal because
Yeah.
first, it's with Tim Burton. Second, nobody expected Alice in Wonderland to do over $1 billion back then. This is
Wow.
before all the Marvel super hits, the
Mhm.
Star Wars super hits. It was actually number 4 in all-time grossing movie in history
Wow.
back then, right? So that spurred on a whole bunch of remakes from Disney. So you're welcome,
So
and I'm
we have you to
sorry, or
thank for
whatever.
that. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, thanks.
uh, and it did a heck of a lot for us, right? Everybody started calling us, and since then we've been able to work with, uh, like Kay and I have been able to work with so many amazing teams and directors and films and franchises. Got to work on Ghostbusters
Ooh,
Afterlife
yeah.
for a quick minute. That was great. That was
Yeah.
amazing because Ghostbusters was such a big piece of my life, and also got to work on Super Mario Brothers not too long ago. Again,
Oh,
not too long, so
but that's,
don't
I think,
expect
like,
my
the
credits.
biggest grossing, video game adaptation of all time? Not bad credits
I
to have
guess so.
under your
Yeah,
belt.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And Super Mario Brothers. Like, if you said what franchise had the most influence in your love of art, I would say Super Mario Brothers without even flinching.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
And
so
what was it that caused you to have a love of art from that product, from that franchise?
I didn't realize until I did a lot of retrospective kind of thinking. Um, I think it's the when you put something that's weird or
Mm.
creepy or not necessarily typically cute or beautiful or attractive, and you make it that, I gravitate towards that.
hmm,
And when you think about
Mm.
every like Tim Burton movie, that's kind of like the repeating theme, right? Normal is weird. Weird is actually really cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then when you're thinking about things like Ghostbusters, Mario, um, anything that's Tim Burton, what about that draws you, pun not intended, but draws you in to say I want to be a part of making something that is unique to that world, because those are three very different worlds, right? And so you're drawing inspiration to create for each of those. What is it about that pulls you in?
They ask me, but what
Okay, that's
attracts them to me, I think that was a question that I thought a lot about, where it's like, a lot of people, they craft one style and they get better and better at it, and they're super well known for it and super successful. Uh, Charles Schultz for Peanuts,
hmm,
Bill Watterson, Calvin and Hobbes, Mike Mignola, Hellboy,
Hellboy. Yep.
and the list goes on. But the thing is, I want to work in movies. So I'm like, well, if I just develop one style, and like they're amazing, they already did their thing. I don't think I had that confidence where I felt like I could be in that group. So to make sure I have work and everything, I thought, okay, it can't be about a style for me. I mean, crafting one style. I need to be able to take my audience through many different styles,
Yeah.
right? So, what is my brand? Well, my
Mm,
brand
Hmm.
would be not the style, but the subject matter. And that's
right.
whimsical, fantastical creatures.
Yeah, and I just now made the connection with why your logo for your studio is what it is, right? You are a chameleon.
It is
Like,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly. It's a chameleon
yeah.
because it changes, it shifts. We used to say to directors and stuff, and I still do if they ever ask. It's like, okay, so how do you work? Right? And a lot of times that's the first question they ask you when they
Right.
get you on the team. I say, well, some people, it's like they go to an artist because they want that style. They want one of those Birkin
Mm,
bags or whatever it is.
mm.
Well, when you come into my store, it's not to get that product. It's for me to take a look at you and go, okay, what would be the best jacket that I could design with that outfit and with your personality,
Hmm.
and that's my thing.
I love it. Yeah. Dave, you're all about the and you've asked this question many times, and so you can help me, shape it because you're the architect of it, at least from my perspective. But what is it about those worlds? There's a why behind all of that, and Dave, you ask that question pretty well, and you kind of dive into the like not so much what you do, but why you do it, and there's a root to it. How do you ask that question? Because I want to know that from Bobby.
Right. Well, so Bobby, you had a choice to go in a couple of different directions. Why did you pick the one that you picked? I often say, like, I come from a big Jewish family in LA that says, "Hey, you graduated from college, you can be anything you want in your life. What kind of doctor, or lawyer is it going to be?" And and so you had a similar choice, where there was a path that is known and a path that is unknown. And could you put your finger on the why you picked a path that was maybe a little bit more rickety at the start? Like, you've shored it up now quite nicely, but what do you think is in you that's a quality of the why you do it? Can you trace it back to a moment in your past or a place where you're just like, man, I gotta make things, you know this is who I am.
Yeah, I went down my path because there was no other path. It was sheer luck and circumstance. So I find myself very lucky that I did not gel well with business school. Like and I was very, very lucky that my dad ran his own business for many, many years,
Mm,
decades,
mm.
right?
Yeah.
And so do you guys ever hear about that thing where it's like, don't talk about business or politics or religion at the dinner table? Well, my
Yeah.
dad never heard of that. He would
Right.
talk about business all the time and say, "This is what happened at work today. These are the issues. These are the victories. What would you do, son? What would
Mm,
you do?
Hmm.
Right? This is the issue right now. What would you do?" And then we would have to give our best guesses, right? And little did I know that we were being trained about
right.
how to run a business, right?
Yeah.
Um,
But
and I was
yet
like
that
5,
right,
when
but
this
yet
all
that
kind of started.
that wasn't something that you wanted to make your primary cause,
Right.
right?
Right. And I just loved art. If you asked me in college, like, what's your goal? I'd be like, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Just sharpening pencils at DreamWorks or something. I would totally do that.
Mm,
I didn't have those big lofty goals like I do now, and it was only because of circumstance where it's like, well, I couldn't get a job.
mm,
Nobody would hire me, so
mm.
of course I'm gonna have to go on my own, right? So that was at it, at first it seems very unlucky, but of course you look back now and it's like, wow, you're actually really lucky to not get a job.
I
Yeah.
mean, you kind of connect the dots, but I think that one of the fortune favors the prepared. right? And so you were prepared to say yes when things happen. I mean, like Tony shows up and you got stuff to show him, and you know, Tim Burton's team calls and you're ready to say yes. I think
Yeah.
that you know, I think that you can call it luck, but it's also the ability to say yes when the opportunity appears.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I have some strong thoughts about luck. I feel like I am lucky, but you can
Okay,
generate luck.
yeah, say
Back in the
more.
day, the thing that I was missing was information, right? Uh, there was barely an internet back then. It was like BBS
Yeah.
uh, stuff that some may not even know what I'm talking about. Um, so I didn't have anybody there making videos and stuff telling me, "Oh, this direction is possible. That direction is possible." I'm trying to maneuver and navigate in the dark, right? And so, but I have determination. So I bump into a wall, I keep going another direction, bump into that wall, I'm going to go in another direction, I get hit in the head, I fall down, I get up and keep going. It was like
Yeah.
that. It was just a whole lot of energy and a whole lot of dumb moves, but some right moves.
Yeah.
Now, the thing
Experience
about
is
luck,
teaching you
though,
that stuff.
what's that?
Experience is teaching you along the way.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, experience is a mysterious teacher. You need logic to translate, you know, that the mysterious things that are happening to tell
Yeah.
you the true lessons there.
Yeah.
That's what I think, right? Like a lot of
Yeah.
times stuff happens to people and they go, it's not a lesson. It's just whatever.
Yeah,
Just
it's
life.
bad luck.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so Andrew, we had this thing where you could actually like type in, and I can't remember where that goes. Like you generate your own luck, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, I
Yes.
want to hear more about that. Tell me more about how that works for you.
Super simple. Okay. So all you need to do is keep putting yourself out there, keep spreading those little seeds, planting those little seeds, and being okay with the fact that you will plant 200 seeds and one might grow. One will grow, right? But hey, if nothing grows, you keep planting seeds. You plant 1,000 seeds, one will definitely grow. And a lot of times, all we need is just the one.
Right.
Now, planting seeds, that's the equivalent of, hey, how's it going? So and so, would you like to take a look at my portfolio?
Yeah.
Uh, okay, yeah, that's good. Okay, thanks. Thanks a lot. All right, see you later. And then that's a seed that didn't grow. And a lot of times that could feel harsh for people,
Yeah.
right? Or you email this heartfelt email, it's super long or whatever, and nobody responds, right? Probably because it was too long. But that's another seed that didn't grow.
So when
But
you're
Right.
doing that,
one will
yeah. So one
eventually.
will you're the seed that you planted with Tony Bancroft, right? Like that's a seed that flourished and it took
It
root
didn't
and it.
grow. It didn't grow for many years.
Yeah.
The movie never came out. I didn't get any jobs from it. But I did get to meet Tony Bancroft, and that was really cool.
Yeah.
And I got to get some experience.
Yeah. So talk to us about the idea of kind of those providential things. They turn into something, and like we said, you've generated your own luck. You've taken advantage, and I think there's some truth between what you're saying, what Dave is saying of this. It favors those who are prepared or who are willing to adventure beyond what they're prepared for, right? Like jump into something new. But tell us how that transitions into where you are now, because that's um, you said that you're all about that what you were missing was the knowledge, right? You were missing the information at
To
your
get
stage,
started. Yeah,
right, to get started. And it seems like you're taking that and you're making it a bit your mission for what you're doing now to help other people. So tell us about what you've now done
exactly.
with all of that.
Exactly. So a long time ago, I was working on things like Alice in Wonderland and all this stuff, and I'm still in Toronto, and I talk with friends, and things that are helpful, you generally naturally share with friends. So I was sharing. And then one friend is like, "Oh my gosh, every time you tell me something that you learned from one of these incredible people that you're working with, like I value that so much, and sometimes it even changes me, it helps me. You gotta share this with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, um, there's this new site, it's called YouTube. Put, your interviews and stuff on there. Like, interview these people and put it on there. Or, sorry, make videos and put it on there. And that eventually became interviewing all these other amazing artists, and putting those up online as well.
Yeah.
So now it's like well over 10 years later, well over 300 of the best artists that have lived on this planet, kind of thing. It's, yeah.
So
Yeah, it's
what?
an amazing collection and a community that you've created that's super generous.
Hmm.
And so, I think that there's a real magic in that generosity to be able to share that. I think that there's when you're generous, everything expands. You can't, like, you show somebody how to draw a hand, it doesn't make you less of an artist. I think that that's the thing that is really exciting about what it is that you create, with Lightbox, with Schoolism, with these other things, is that it's really expansive.
Yeah, if I could expand on that.
Yeah, why don't
Um,
you? It's what you do.
Another thing
Nice.
that would really help and has helped me over the years is being okay with being nice to people that might end up being jerks.
Mm,
Mm.
And if they are a jerk to me, I'm okay with that. I just move on, you know. But because I'm okay doing that all the time, it I ended up meeting so many people and becoming genuine friends with so many people that I never would have thought, we would connect.
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah, what does that so that transitions then into these communities and these networks of people, and you have a pretty large community of people centered around this thing called Lightbox Expo, right? And Lightbox is this hub for creatives in the entertainment industry, and you've got studios that come to network with creatives, and creatives who are seeking opportunities within these studios. What do you get out of that other than tired? What do you get out of these expos when you do them every year? Like, what is the drive and the passion that keeps you putting these things on for the industry?
That's so simple. Working on cool projects, cool films, or working with cool people, that's a really enjoyable experience, right? And it might inspire some people to follow in my footsteps.
Yeah.
But uh, if I could help somebody, especially with knowledge that not a lot of people know, and only a handful of people could help that person in that way, and I'm able to help them,
Hmm.
then that's where I feel my true legacy will be. It's through other
Yeah.
people's lives that I've affected.
mm, mm,
Working on a cool movie is cool, but it's less meaningful than helping one person, and then all of a sudden that person is able to help their family or support a new
Mm.
family, and
Yeah.
all this stuff, and the effect, it just spreads so much.
mm,
Yeah.
mm.
That's cool. I want to know. I want to know beyond the drive and the passion behind that. Um, how are you with collaboration? Because there's no way you can put on something like Lightbox on your own, and you're as this thing is curated and as it's put together, and you're trying to tell this story, you're trying to kind of navigate these things. Um, what is the level of collaboration that has to happen for that to make these things successful?
The bigger the project, the more collaboration. Like, for me, I want to give a big shout out to my partner, Jim Demonakos. We created Lightbox together. Um, his side is he created a very successful convention called the Emerald City Comic Con
Mm,
many
yeah.
years ago. He created that, and then he ended up selling it. He exited Hangout, and then I had this convention idea, asked him to, work on it with me because his knowledge in how to make a giant event. The Emerald City Comic Con, when he exited, it had over 100,000 people visiting every year.
Wow.
100,000,
That's a
right? Lightbox is
big
already
deal.
a tremendous amount. 12,000 some odd artists you
Mhm.
can expect at Lightbox
Mhm.
this year.
Mhm.
Um, 100,000, that's every kind of person, some
Yeah.
artists and a lot of fans and so on and so forth. Um, so it's a very different show, but
Yeah.
there's so many things that he knows and has experience with and has relationships that that are very helpful for Lightbox, right? There's only one Jim Dominico's. And then
Mhm.
my side, I've had all this experience working on all of these, working with all these studios, knowing all these people in the studios, knowing all these artists, and with schoolism, we're doing workshops around the world, every year, like 10 to 14 workshops a year for over 10 years. And
Mhm.
every one of these workshops, we're taking 2 to 6 uh, incredibly well known, incredibly amazing artists with us to travel,
Mhm.
and because I like to travel. But the surprising, the nice surprise was, when you travel, you don't just get to know somebody, like you really get to know them. You really build a
Yeah.
strong connection with people that you really gel with. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's exactly what happened. So over the span of over 10 years and over, from 10 to 14 workshops a year and 2 to 6 incredible artists going with us on every trip, that network of artists that
Mhm.
are very close, dear friends of mine
Mhm.
really, really grew, and
Yeah.
it wasn't planned, but that's what happened.
So then Lightbox essentially becomes kind of a way for all of y'all to get together as
Yes.
much as it is for you to share knowledge and experience and opportunity.
Yeah, that's the other thing I love to do is just, I love to introduce cool people to other cool friends of mine,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
so, Lightbox was exactly that, and so when I was making Lightbox, just pulled in all the favors, called up everybody, and I was like,
Yeah.
"We're doing this thing, can you please come?" And everybody's like, "Yes, I'll come."
And
Nice.
it seems like it makes it easier to disseminate your vision or your passion or your mission behind something if you're doing it with people who already intrinsically know you and you have that relational equity built with, right? You're not starting from you're not these aren't strangers and you're first having to teach them who Bobby is, and then once they know who Bobby is, then they can get on board with what you're trying to do. They already know Bobby. They already know what he's about. They already know what your heart is, and it's just like, yeah, now let's talk through the logistics because we don't need, like, we're on board and we're in your corner. I love that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and so many people, like, I gotta thank for that. It's like I just asked them and they just dropped everything and they came. It's
Yeah.
Amazing.
fantastic.
Hey, so Bobby, you were saying like when in your early days, if you could just sharpen pencils at DreamWorks, that would be enough. But you sort of alluded to that there's some things that you want to accomplish. What is it? What's on your list of things that you would like to create for yourself? Like what's your ambition for the future of Bobby Chiu? What's it look like for you?
Well, currently it's Lightbox and we also have a sale on schoolism, so getting those things out into the world, that message out into the world is that's the most important thing to me. Currently I am working on other things, but generally I just like to show. When it's ready, I just like to
Mm.
show it as opposed to talking about it as I'm working on it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Speaking of showing, before we went live, we were chatting, and you shared with us some of these incredible, this situation, right, that you have now found yourself in, and you're now in the throes of trying to figure out what to do with this, and that's this idea of something you created got a lot of exposure and has now blown up and people are contacting you. Why don't you give us just the Reader's Digest version of that story, and maybe even if you're willing, pull up what you showed us beforehand, because I think it helps illustrate kind of this where you're at right now.
Well, also all that we've been talking about, where
Yeah.
you are just planting seeds and trying things and pushing the edges of things, and now you've discovered something that's starting to go viral. Yeah, tell us a little bit about that. I think it's consistent with what you talked about.
Hmm.
Yeah, Andrew, great job, picking up the slack there, because I saw the little lob after you started explaining what you're explaining, Andrew. Now I realize the little, l- you know, easy lob that Dave was throwing me, and I totally messed that up. Yes. So what am I up to? I didn't mean to be up to this stuff, but it just kind of happened and it just exploded. So I started doing these videos, and generally these videos, before, my videos would get like, a couple thousand, 10,000 views, 100,000 views, and that could be good for a lot of people. That was good for me.
Yeah.
Then I started
It
doing
would
these,
be incredible for me. So-
right? And then I started to do these other videos, these new videos, and I did the first one. Oh my God, and it just exploded. It absolutely exploded. It's currently over 63 million views, and I made a bunch more videos, and they are all like 8 million views and higher. So
yeah.
here, let me show you.
Yeah. Let's
Am I
let's
sharing
pull
the
this
right
up.
screen there?
Yes, you are.
Right? So you could see that this one is like 9.9 million views, almost 10 million views, right? And it's actual engagement, like a quarter million likes, over 1,000 comments. This one's 8.3 million, 8.4 million. This one is 8.9, 17 million, 63 million. This one's the one I was talking about. It's absolutely crazy. Like
So, and what's the
3.2 million likes.
yeah? So what's this happening to you? Why don't you click on that so we can just see what this is all about while it's playing. I want to ask you a question. As this is happening to you, as you're starting to see these likes creep up um, exponentially, what's going on in your head? What is it that's clicking with you? What's your aha moment in all of this?
It was pretty blurry. I was just thinking, I need to do more of these and think about this a lot more. Try to figure this out. Like, is it a, what is there in this thing that I could really kind of expand, right, and really get into?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's this video for people who may just be listening to this and not watching. It's this video that you've created of what is essentially a constant zoom in image, right? Like so, what's the application that you used again?
It's called Endless Paper on the
Endless paper.
iPad.
Okay.
Yeah, and the idea is like this drawing is just so big that you can't see all of it. You got to zoom into it to show people.
Yeah.
Um, there is like a cool kind of lesson out of that I got to learn, which is like, and this was reinforced by Rick Rubin's new book, The Creative Way, which is
Hmm.
an
Mm.
awesome book.
Yeah, it's
And one of the,
amazing.
right, I
Yeah,
figured you're a Rick Rubin kind of guy,
yeah.
but
I'm about halfway through it, but I agree with every single word on every
oh,
page. It's amazing.
you need a highlighter.
Yeah,
The only thing is you're going to highlight the whole entire page.
yeah.
But one of the many gems that he talked about was not having any kind of preconceptions of what the art will be.
Mm,
Try to take away any borders, any restrictions when it comes to the idea of it. So in other words, oh, you're going to do another painting? Don't break out that canvas right away. Think about what you actually want to paint with and on,
Mm,
right? Maybe it's a ball, maybe it's a shoe, maybe it's a drawing so big that you can't see it. You can't
mm,
see the whole entire thing.
mm,
wow.
mm.
I want to know when. when this happens, you have the initial shock, you have the initial like, what's going on? I need to do more of these. Clearly this is resonating with somebody. And whenever somebody's work, whether you're an artist, or you're a marketer, or you're just a storyteller of any kind, right? Whenever your work resonates with people, your first instinct does seem to always be, I need to make more of this, like, because you want your work to mean something, you want your work to connect. But then, as a business guy, a guy who now runs several different businesses and things, where does your brain go? Where does your brain shift into, okay, how do I take this and make it more than just likes? Like, at what point does your brain shift into that?
Pretty much right away for me is pretty much right away. I start to think, where else could this go, and all the different possibilities and stuff. And I'm still thinking about those things. I'm still working on those things.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it's been very exciting. Yeah, you know, the highest viewed video I ever had before that is like 2.2 million or something like that.
Yeah.
And it took years to get to
Mhm,
that number,
mhm.
right? So I put this thing out, I think I put it out on a Thursday, and then I go to sleep, and I wake up and I look at the thing eventually and I go, wait a second, what? 1 million views? Oh my goodness. Hey, babe, this is taking off. This is taking off. I tell Kay, right? And she's like, oh, that's good. That's good. She's always like that. She's always
Yeah.
very cool.
Just real
Oh,
calm and
good job.
collected.
Good job. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. And then we're supposed to go to my parents' place, get ready. I'm like, by the time I'm ready, I look at it and it's 2 million views. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a rocket ship. Kate, this is a rocket ship. She's like, oh, that's good. That's good. And, we get ready, we go to my parents' place, and I go to them. Oh my gosh, I have this video. It's blowing up. It has over 2 million views. Here, let me show you. I break out my phone. I show them. I'm like, oh, it's at 4 million views now, right? I'm like, oh my God. By the time I get back home, it's at 8 million views.
So it's like it's doubling every time you look. That's essentially what's happening, right?
It was like doubling every hour.
Yeah. That's
It was
Mm.
insane.
incredible.
And you immediately started, my immediate thought in that situation would be to say, "Oh, the algorithm's broken. Something's broken here." You go, "Okay, how can I capitalize on this?" And I think that's what sets apart people who are successful, with people who really enjoy talking to successful people.
Well, and I think more than capitalize, it's like there's a why to it, right? Like what just happened to storytelling?
Yeah.
You used to have a single page where you could just pack as much as you could into that page. Maybe you had a couple layers to it. Even infinite canvas, those things are nice, but like the idea that you actually could have an endless piece of paper, like there's another piece. It's not just capitalizing. It's just like there is something different happening here. It's also
Yes.
really hand done, which is something delicious and
Yeah, it
and
feels
and really
tactile.
juicy about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
So okay, so you are a multifaceted faceted guy, right? Like you've done all of these things, you've created a lot of things, but you have, when we were chatting before all of this, at the heart of all of it, you have a passion about about creating characters and creatures, and you have a real passion about this thing. Aside from having a pretty savvy business mindset, you still at the heart of yourself love to create creatures and characters. Just tell us, just for a second, why that is. What is it about that makes you so like, yeah, that's what's pushing you.
Um yeah, we're going to get a little psychology in this
Yeah, bring it,
stream here.
bring it.
Yeah, so it's another thing where I didn't realize until years and years later. I look back and I kind of see the journey and everything. Um, you know, like I said, I went to Sheridan College, Now, if you go to Sheridan College, there are so many Asians there. When I went to Sheridan College, no, there there was hardly any.
Okay. Okay.
Um, when I was in high school, not a lot of Asians, and then when Chinese people did start coming in, it was like uh, people that didn't speak my language. I couldn't understand them,
Sure. Yeah.
so I felt like an outsider. I felt like a different person. I felt like a creature.
Mm,
I have an underbite. So growing up as a kid, there would be times where you got to have some thick skin because people are going to make fun of you.
Yeah.
mm.
And so, getting all psychologizy, uh, I feel like I like to not draw violent, scary creatures. I like to draw whimsical, fantastical creatures. I like to draw things that are strange in a unique and beautiful way, a pleasing way, because I am that creature.
Mm.
Wow. Yeah. I love that.
Beautiful.
That's great.
Beautiful. Well, it's been a super delight, Bobby, to have you on this, and I'm really so excited about all of your successes. And yeah, we're jazzed about Lightbox. It's an incredible conference, and the uh, the things that you do with schoolism. Um, it's just been really a delight to be able to connect with you on all of
Yeah.
these ideas.
Yeah, tell us what we can expect in all of those things. Tell people how they can connect with you outside of here, and they can follow what you're doing and be a part of whatever comes next and whatever comes out of this new venture. Like how can they support you and all that?
Uh, well, you could look up my name on the internet, Bobby Chiu, Chiu, and then you could, follow me on the socials. I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok and Twitter, and what else is
Yeah,
there?
and
Facebook.
if you want to go to schoolism.com, like if you are interested in learning more about art and artists, some of the best artists in the world are doing tutorials on schoolism. I often suggest to people who have applied to Lightro and didn't make it that that's one of the places, a great resource for them to be able to up index their creativity, their skill sets, and even their community.
Yeah.
Missed another lob. Thank you so much, Dave.
Hey, we're here for you,
Yeah,
Bobby. This is we're in this together. Don't worry about
yeah.
missing lobs. We'll take care of it.
Well, and absolutely, like, I love schoolism. I not just teach there, I learned from there,
Yeah,
uh,
I will say
college
I
for
do
me was
too.
just one little class out of the school of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, the level of work at schoolism is so amazing. It's not for beginners; it's for everybody at any level of your artistic career. So, um,
Yes. In the very beginning, there weren't very many beginner courses because I was really just looking to upgrade my own knowledge,
mm,
from other people. But of course, over the years, we brought in a bunch of beginner courses as well. So it's much better, way better to start off with an amazing teacher as a beginner than to start off with a mediocre teacher as a beginner and then work
mhm,
your way up to really great teachers.
Yeah, naturally, yeah.
Start off on the right foot.
Yeah,
nice.
that makes sense. Uh, Bobby, you're incredible. Thank you so much for chatting with us. Thanks for taking time out, and we're excited to see what comes next. We're glad to have you on the Lightro team with the Lightro family, and obviously we're big supporters of Lightbox and everything that's happening there. We'll see you at Lightbox this year. We'll do some high fives and things. But thank you so much for chatting with us.
My pleasure. Thank you guys. Great
Yeah.
to
Appreciate you,
see you.
Bobby. All
Hey,
right.
if you want to be a part of this incredible creative community that we've been talking about just now, and Dave just mentioned a minute ago, you can go to lightro.com/for-creatives to submit, and you can be a part of this curated incredible group. Or maybe you need some help telling your story, and you want to work with people like Bobby or any of these other incredibly talented people within the Lightro community. Just go to lightro.com and let's collaborate. Let's help you tell your story. Let's get out there. And that might be a marketer. You may be someone who's responsible for brand or storytelling for your business. that's what we're here for. Let us help you do that. We've got the world's best storytellers ready to help. And so just hit us up at lightro.com. But I think for now, we're going to get out of this episode. It was an absolute joy and pleasure. And I guess until next time, Dave, I think we should just say see you later. And, let's keep getting creative.
Exactly. All right. Have a beautiful day, Bobby, and y'all out there. Thank you.
Bye, guys.